Thanks, Ron. And I'm glad we could help during the tough times we had last year. And hi, everyone. I'm glad to be part of this webinar. And looks like you had very interesting sessions early on with UiPath, and I also heard Bob speak a little earlier. So here we are going to, I want it to be more interactive as well. So feel free to ask me questions. And today, what we wanted to do is, sort of give you a perspective of what we're doing with our customers within AWS Retail and how we're actually specifically helping them solve some problems around customer journeys. So that's sort of like what we have planned for. And by way of introductions, my name is Kritika Ganesamurthy. I'm the Global Retail Partner Tech Lead at Amazon Web Services. And what I do in my role is I work with both technology and consulting partners in the retail space, helping them with solution enablement, go-to-market activities, and also like new product development in the retail space. And I am part of the broader AWS retail vertical within AWS. I'm just going to go off camera just to just focus on the presentation. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. So in terms of what we have seen as industry trends and demands, the last few years or so, or, more accelerated in the last year, is, we see that a lot of customers are willing to share their information with retailers, provided they get value. I mean, I think some of us can relate to that. If retailers can use your data and preferences to make your shopping experience easier and convenient, there is a value added for both the buyer and the seller. So we see that trend, so we see that trend, like customers are willing to give the data, but we also see that a lot of customers are frustrated that wherein that particular data that they've been shared is just not being used in the right way to personalize their experiences. And we also saw a lot of changes last year, with the way, with all the things that happened in the world, with a lot of, especially, it was retail, the fashion retail segment was hit hard, a lot of store closures, consolidation, but that also meant that, they were actually trying to see what innovations that they should start bringing in, as they ramp up and then, open up to this new world of consumer behavior changes, right? We call it the great shift in consumer behaviors. A lot of retailers, we did see some of these trends like buy online, pick up at store, that existed, but then we know it's going to be a norm or a trend in the next few years or so. But I think what we saw last year was the entire journey and experiences which just accelerated, to me, the demands of what we saw in the changing world. And then, of course, we see retailers, as they try to modernize and reinvent themselves, they stuck with some of the legacy applications. And so we help retailers in multitude of ways, not just, in terms of innovation, trying to bring our learnings from Amazon, but also in helping them modernize their existing IT infrastructure in ways that they can actually use to help with their innovation and drive their business growth. And from just like a statistics perspective, what are some things that we see? Like e-commerce sales were up 76% because, I think Ron just mentioned before the call, what would have done with that Whole Foods, just easing the entire like shopping experience. How many of us thought that we would actually do grocery shopping online? Not many, including myself. But then that has become norm. That some of the patterns has continued to sort of stay even after, we're sort of getting back into the new normal. We see some patterns like stick, and we see the adoption of consumer like grocery shopping in e-commerce is going to, it's going to start going up as we move forward into this new normal. And then this whole concept of buy online, pick up store, curbside, like ship from stores, that saw a dramatic increase in retailers and customers wanting to have this touchless, frictionless experiences, as they were navigating. And I can tell you as a customer, I continue to embrace some of those changes, because it's just made my life so simple and easy. So I know we see that trend happening, and across like different experiences that sort of accelerated during the pandemic. And then the expectations of what the customers require, when they're on the website and they're trying to buy something or your mobile site, they expect the experiences to be very seamless. So any delays in, just like in terms of like your product display pages or your home pages, customers don't have the patience to like stick on, they just have like multitude of options. So we do see that, about like from a statistic perspective, like 57% of the visitors, if the site takes, more than like few seconds to load, and they just leave, and then 80% is just never coming back. So there are some trends and challenges that retailers have to focus on, while they actually adhere to these new changes in behavior. And no, and then when you think about just from a legacy, the retail systems and processes in place, that they have, and you could actually, um, sorry, one second. Yeah, you could actually see that, that shopping experiences in a store, or like within e-commerce, especially within a store, when it comes to like checkout and payment, they're just expecting, like, I think I went to a retailer like last week in my hometown in Dallas, and I just saw self-checkout registers all over. I mean, it's just like the way shopping is changing drastically. It's just mind-boggling. And also like supply chain, last year, I think while we were like having customers, like retailers adopted this new normal, one specific challenge, we were helping retailers focus on the supply chain aspect. The varying forecast and demand signals, not just, what used to be years out or weeks out and months out, ended up being like days out. Like you just don't know what the demands are going to be. So helping retailers, quickly adapt to this newer changes, and trying to have systems in place to predict what the demand is going to be next day. How is this world going to be next day? How is the city going to perform next day? It's quite challenging, and what we've seen is customers, especially who have been working and modernizing with AWS, saw that impact, the changes in their business impacted much less than other customers who were trying to embrace AWS and are trying to like reinvent themselves. And what are some ways we are helping customers across the customer journeys that you can customer journeys is, again, unified commerce. We've all heard this term bring up. So, it was omni-channel, it's unified, now it's collaborative commerce. I think the fundamental value there is having a channel agnostic experience, right? So we were always looking at this, the lens we had was on the customer side of things. But I think the way we are helping retailers is to say, okay, how do you take the same lens and apply it on the operational side of things? What does it mean to run a unified commerce? What does that mean to have all these different siloed systems come together in a way that you can actually provide that unified commerce experience for your customers, in a way that you can, earn their trust. In Amazon, one of the leadership principles is earn trust. Everything, and customer obsession, everything revolves around how do we actually work based on what the customers require and put the customer in the forefront of every decision making, and also earn trust. Thereby, again, customers have so many options today. Getting that loyalty and that trust is important to keep having your customers coming back to you. So how do you actually define these experiences in a way that you can operationally, you're creating efficient processes, you're making it seamless for your customers in terms of like earning their trust, bringing security and safety measures in, and also from a speed and convenience perspective, right? Like how do you get things out of your warehouses in a way that you can actually do very similar to what Amazon is doing for their customers? So the way we do it in retail, within AWS retail, is we help customers across the value chain, starting from like customer engagement, operationally, your warehouse operations, safety, supply chain. We have solutions in place wherein we work with customers across the value chain, and then we sort of see that in two pillars. One is around, from a technology standpoint, what does that modernization look like? What are some things that we work with customers and helping them adopt to the newer, the next generation stack in terms of your point of sale systems, your e-commerce, your ERP, your warehouse management systems. So from that perspective, embracing concepts around serverless microservices, also purpose-built databases. An example is, I can give you one of Amazon as a customer of AWS retail, AWS, and if you look at, just take Amazon as an example, from where they were decades ago to where they are now in terms of how they've actually gotten away from relational database systems, completely moved away from Oracle, and then sort of embraced purpose-built databases. So they've actually used different databases with different functions within an application. So within an e-commerce site, you have like different purpose-built applications baked into the platform. Likewise, helping customers with this concept of embedding machine learning. Machine learning not just applies to one area, as you know, as you've seen, as you've heard, also from UiPath. It's across different industries, across different function units within retail. So like, how do we? And so we have conversations with customers and helping them charter a path of not only doing this tech modernization in terms of infrastructure, but also helping them see the roadmap and help them in creating and building these foundational blocks to actually create and build machine learning, create a foundational data lake that you can actually build solutions and help with business growth. So that's one side. And the other pillar is, of course, like, what is the innovation that comes out of that? So once you've actually built, how do you quickly embrace some of this new technology that comes out in terms of like voice commerce? I think all of us would, I think we're embracing as in the last few years or so, with all these voice-enabled tech that is out there. I think that has become sort of a norm in how we interact and carry our day-to-day operations. And we see a lot of those voice commerce getting into retail in terms of enabling customers to easily shop. I mean, how cool is it if you're driving back from work and you can actually, use a voice-enabled application on your phone, work with your retailer that you normally do, let's say grocery in this case, order your groceries and then have them bring it curbside, as you near the store. So experiences like that, and also like using computer vision. Computer vision can be applied in a multitude of cases, starting from customer experience, like in the case that I talked before, like a curbside. I mean, if you can easily have the ability to track who the customer is and where they are, and even without customers going in and saying, well, I'm here, using a combination of machine vision and location tracking to know if the customer is already in your store and getting the order out. I mean, getting that is what we call as channel agnostic, frictionless convenience experiences. And then, of course, AR, VR. There's a lot of ways we have seen retailers embrace AR, especially in terms of bringing the physical store experiences in the digital world. Not a lot of people were able to go to the stores, and even if you're not in a city where you have these amazing physical store, you can walk into and experience what it's like. Imagine if you're like 1,000 miles away, but you can actually experience that and shop in the virtual world, right? So creating those sort of experiences is something that we've seen. Of course, IoT and robotics. Robotic automation is also a key element in terms of helping that convenience, bringing a convenience factor into the whole shopping experience. Have it be like micro fulfillment centers or even warehouse robotic automations. So these are some ways we are helping retailers on AWS sort of like reinvent themselves. And then how we do it, if you look at if Amazon works, and we have this two pizza team culture. What that means is the teams are small enough, but it can be fed by 2 pizzas. So that way, the way we look at applications and the way we go forward is the lens of creating modularized, easy to scale, and faster to actually production deployment and faster to market. And we have this unique combination of both the startup mentality, and also, given the experience we have from Amazon Retail, we have the experience to scale when needed, sort of take that startup incubation idea and from the concept stage, and then sort of grow and scale it as well. So we've got the unique experience of both sides of the world. So, and again, it's no secret that we were actually, when you look at how AWS was born, we were actually created to solve specific needs of Amazon Retail. So we are proud to say that we are actually born from retail, and we are built for retail, and our technologies have been proven in retail, not just with Amazon, but other retail customers as well, like thousands of customers on AWS. So we have like more than 25 years of innovation experience in retail that we're actually bringing directly to the customers. I'm actually going to walk you through some of the services wherein we were leveraging the Amazon Retail Leverage, which is now used as a service for any customers to use and actually create that differentiated services for your customers. And also from a cloud perspective, we have a 10-year head start in this space. As Andy Jassy says, there is no compression algorithm for experience. So we do have that head start that just gives us this massive experience, and also the economies of scale that we bring to the market that helps retailers, retailers and other customers not only just use what, leverage what we have exists, but also from in a more cost optimal way that you can, because we just bring the economies of scale to the business. And then broader set of retail technologies and services. If you look at how much, we have over 175 services that we launch, and and a lot can be used in retail. And we have retail specific services as well that we've actually launched to make it easier for customers to like just embrace and adopt and embrace the change. And last but not the least, we spoke a lot about customers, but then partners, technology and consulting partners, form a huge aspect of our business and ecosystem. Without them, I don't think we can drive the amount of value we do today. Because again, a lot of retail customers are looking for solutions that they can actually buy and deploy and go about it. So in that space, we have a program called Retail Competency, AWS Retail Competency, and what we do is across the retail value chain, we have curated and vetted a list of partner solutions across the value chain, wherein it's easier for customers like you, and as you're looking to innovate with AWS, it's easier for you to look for partners and their solutions and see what's happening. And this channel continues to grow, as we recruit more and more partners into this ecosystem. And this is a global program, so you can find partners globally. And and the way again, as I said, AWS was born born out of Amazon as a need. And in it, Amazon, as you know, customer obsession is a number one priority. Every decision is made keeping the customer in mind. I mean, they are the forefront. So every decision is made having the customer. So our goal is to create those, the best customer experiences, a customer can get on the Amazon site. And so we like to, technology should not be a barrier to create those experiences, which is why we try, we are leveraging a platform and an experience and helping retailers, saying, don't worry about the underlying infrastructure, just focus on building those differentiators or the differentiating factors. Creating those experiences for your customers across, that should be the retailer's focus, and not having to worry about the underlying infrastructure. And then also giving them an ability to innovate as fast as Amazon. I think that's another key point that we want to add is, as other retailers like Amazon changes the way customer experiences, changes the way we do things, we also want other retailers to be able to innovate as fast as Amazon in the same platform that Amazon uses. And from a customer testament, this is just a small sample. We have thousands of customers on retail on AWS for focusing on retail. And if you ask me about a workload, I could find you examples where we've done this with customers. Because of the huge base and because of the head start we've actually had in the retail segment, we've actually worked in every single area within retail, and we continue to do so with working with a startup community that is building solutions specific to retail on our platform. And these are the list of competency partners we have today. And as you can see, they serve across the retail value chain, starting from customer experiences to supply chain, merchandising, your e-commerce, your physical stores, your data platform, your data science, machine learning, and also like core business applications like HR, your SIEM systems. So we have partners across the board and across the globe. And this continues to grow. And what are some of the innovations we've done at Amazon? If you just look at, from where we were to where we are now, one example, is our Just Walk Out technology, which is you walk in, frictionless, no checkout lines, eliminate checkout lines, scan a code, walk into a Just Walk Out, pick up what you want, and just leave the store without having to go to a cash register, pay, and wait in the line. So technologies like that, and also like a 4-star store, wherein we take some of our learnings from e-commerce and apply it into our physical stores. And then voice commerce, as I said, has become an important aspect of shopping experiences. Digital or physical doesn't matter. Again, it's all channel agnostic. So bringing those voice experiences in your direct-to-consumer channel has become important as well. And then the latest last year was Amazon One, which is our checkout technology. You just use a swipe, swipe your palm across the reader, and that's it. That's your identity. Your entire identity is all in your palm. And it's very easy, especially in this world where nobody wants to touch anything. It's sort of like a convenient way, a touchless way to actually finish your checkout and walk the store. And then of course the dash cart that you see in some of our Amazon Fresh stores, wherein very similar to the concept of just walk out. But then in this case, we are using a cart wherein, you can just take items that you want, put it in the cart, and you walk out. Again, no checkout lines and no payment that is needed. And again, I think the point we want to make is they are all built on the AWS technologies, and I think that is what we're trying to help retailers innovate at the speed of Amazon using the same technology that Amazon uses. And working backwards, I wanted to talk a little bit about just the working backwards concept. We've seen this resonate very well with our customers, not just in retail, but in general, in terms of how do you actually, everybody's asking us, okay, how do I innovate like Amazon? How do I think about it? How do I go about it? What does it mean? And one of the process we have here is working backwards. So, we have a problem statement that we want to achieve, and then we work backwards from that as to like how we want to do it. An example is just walk out. I think the conceptually it was, how do I reinvent physical store experience? A concept, which was a very high level concept. So we started working backwards from that in terms of customers, like what do they expect? What does that mean? And then, and then we also, in our process, we have something called a PR FAQ. That is, we envision what that press release is going to be for that particular product. So this helps us sort of like, get a perspective of what that final end product is. What are some nuances we have to think about in getting there? So it sort of like, gets us focused into that problem, working backwards from that high level goal, and helping us formulate that process and plans and details in how to actually go about doing that. We actually have a lot of digital culture innovation workshops within Amazon. If you're interested, within AWS, if you're interested, we're happy to help you, have those sessions with you and helping you understand how we work, so you can bring some of those if applicable to your business as well. So let's just walk through some things about like some technologies that we use, and especially in the customer experience side, that actually helps retailers drive business growth. First is personalization. So it's been in Amazon since 1998. When we look at the initial ways we were doing, one concept is that in your recommender system that we call for your recommendations is this item-to-item collaborative filtering. Amazon was the first content company to actually come up with the item-to-item collaborative filtering, and you still can see it being used today as a base foundation for any recommender system, not just within retail, but outside of retail. So it's been actually embraced by the community outside. Pomelo is an example of a customer in Southeast Asia, and they've actually integrated Amazon Personalized into the e-commerce, and they actually saw 400% increase within the first month in their just for you, like sort of like personal recommendations for customers. So they've just seen like a 400% increase, but then they've also seen other stats like 15%, from the category pages after adding personalization. And again, as I said, it's a very simple to use service that you can easily integrate into your e-commerce sites. And then the other technology to improve your customer service is Amazon Connect. I believe UiPath had talked about, integrating and automating in your call center. Again, as they said, technology is just a foundation, right? It provides a base foundation, but then you need, there's sort of like the other layer, that the human aspect of it in some cases, which adds that extra level of experience for your customers. And what we've done with Amazon Connect, which is our cloud-based contact center, and it's sort of replacing your traditional IVR. And the reason being, especially given, what happened last year, like for instance, Morrison's, they had to get something, they had to get nobody could come into the office. They had to get something, an IVR system, a contact center up and running, wherein their employees can't just get this, so they have to be remote. So they actually launched their entire call center migrating from IVR to Amazon Connect in about 8 weeks. And what it also let them do is just with so many features, whatever took them days, 5 to 10 days to implement in terms of changing automated messages or customer specific messages, was done in a matter of minutes. And again, it's global. You have other features like call-based routing, creating personalization. It also has machine learning baked into the product, wherein if you're looking to analyze or understand what is happening, sort of extract information from customer calls, conversations to increase experience. I mean, they could be complaints about checkout lines and pointers. There could be complaints about a product line, about the experience, about the site experience, right? Sort of like automatically being able to generate all that information and then create and then operationalize this. So all that is possible. All that is a built-in feature with Amazon Connect. And also, again, integrating that with your CRM system. So I, as a consumer, when I call in, your call center agent pretty much has an idea as to why I would be calling and what that means, all within one screen, without having to navigate to 10 different screens to get the information that they need to help the customer. So another example within the customer journey, within the e-commerce at all your point of sale is around visual search. We're all used to traditional search on the website. Just type in something, it comes out, and there's just been, as you know, the way we index the products and the way we showcase the products in search. It has seen a lot of progress, but I think what the next step is the whole visual search. Visual search not just helps in, in your search engine, but also like visual merchandising. So the concept is identifying, extracting attributes from an image, and then using that in various use cases. And one such, so we have a partner, Vices. They actually have a product for visual search, and Zalora has actually implemented Vices. Vices has a lot of retail customers. And one such customer is Zalora, where they've actually implemented a visual search into their website. So wherein you can just take a snapshot of a picture and then look for similar items or even the same items from Zalora without having to go into the hassle of typing everything in, which we all do. Sometimes you walk and then you see somebody having a nice product that you wish you had as well. So it's easy to click pictures or from a catalog, or you see some some advertisements in a magazine. You want to look for options within your favorite brand. So all that is possible with product search, and we see a lot of retailers sort of embedding this within that e-commerce experience. And then the other trend that we've seen is this around Livestream Commerce. It's more like home shopping brought to the digital world. It's very popular in Asia, and it's just like if you look at some of the stats, what Livestream Commerce enabled, in Asia during the Singles Day, it's just mind-boggling. And this particular trend is actually not just, it's spreading across the globe. And you see a lot of retailers, even within the US, embracing the concept of live stream commerce. An example is Amazon.com/live. If you go and you can see a lot of influencers talking about the products. And this is actually useful for retailers as well, as they want to have an option to bring their influencers, their customers, to talk about their own products. What is the biggest testimony, right? Having your customers talk about how your product, right, is. And getting that real experiences from customers. I could tell you, I would like, if a normal shopper just comes in and talks about a product and how much they like, I would love that kind of a feedback. So this is an enhanced version of your ratings and reviews, sort of. And what we've done in Amazon is we actually have, within AWS, we have a service called Amazon Interactive Video Service. And what it does is it helps you end-to-end, enabling your customers or your influencers to do live broadcast, and then helping you actually stream those, broadcast those streams across your viewers. When you think about it, you'll be like, is it difficult? Well, it is, in the sense, because you have multiple factors to think about. How do you scale globally? How do you make sure the latency is under a few milliseconds, so that way customers are just not frustrated with the experience? And then also building that end-to-end. This is not just about somebody just showing something, but then also how do you build this interactive experiences within that, in terms of creating surveys or chats and helping them buy. The whole idea behind this is, for one, helping them easily to find a product, learn from the influencers, but also at the end of the day, any retailer's goal is to convert that shopping experience. How do you do that? So enabling this one-click checkout into the product is sort of like the build. But the Amazon Interactive Video Service is sort of the Blaze-based platform that helps you build these live streaming broadcast applications, and then you can embed the other experience, like one-click checkout, on top of that. We also have some demos in GitHub. If you just go to GitHub and look at Retail Demo Store, AWS, you actually find a lot of sample code that actually shows you how to integrate that into your e-commerce site. So we have a lot of customers embracing this, a lot of partners, e-commerce providers, integrating this feature into their platform to provide those capabilities natively. So we also seen customers directly embedding as well, and with increased success and how they've actually been able to work with their customers and then create that experience with their customers. And it's not just like streaming. You can also use it maybe you want to do some live within your physical stores that you want to like broadcast. And there's just so many use cases for live stream commerce that you can actually enable using this particular service. The other service that I wanted to talk about is the location, Amazon location. We've all talked about, I think earlier on I was talking to you about this whole frictionless way to go pick up your order. And again, if a customer gets the value in providing that information, customers are ready to give that information, as long as you can earn their trust and in terms of security, safety, and you're using it for personalizing experience. On that context, we have a service called Amazon Location, wherein customer privacy and security is important. You want to make sure that if you're getting some information of your customer, you are the sole owner of it. And that is what we are trying to do with this particular service compared to other services that are out there, is making sure you have control of your customers' data and nobody else. And Amazon Location, in that perspective, provides you with multiple services within functions within that. One includes maps. It's easily embed maps within your application to show to customers where they are, a route to your store, things like that. Tracking. The tracking can be used in, again, if I'm going to tell my retailer, hey, I'm actually on my way, helping the retailer track where you are, so they can actually bring your product out of the door to where you are when you actually arrive at the store, thereby making your whole experience seamless and convenient. And then geofencing. Geofencing, again, it could be used for multiple purposes, for transaction and also marketing. If you actually want to do some geo-marketing by tracking where the customers are within the perimeter, you could do so as well within the service. And then we also have places, you can look at nearby places within a location. You can also do like lat long, like geocode and reverse geocode, like you're trying to get lat long from an address from a lat long, or things like that. And then we're also going to have a product coming out in terms of helping you map those routes. So this is a multitude of use cases, not just, I know if you look at retail, transportation, the management system, TMS, is another big cost center for retail. How do you manage my logistics, my distribution of products from warehouses, my suppliers to warehouses to my stores and other fulfillment centers, right? Having and streamlining your distribution logistic operation, Amazon Location comes into handy as well. And then, of course, track and trace, and there's just numerous use cases where you can actually embed this particular service, and both from a customer experience and also from an operational. And then another service is Amazon Forecast. And, forecast has become an important problem to solve in retail, especially when it, again, supply chain, as we saw, all of us experience firsthand the disruptions in supply chain that happened. So helping retailers sort of like being able to adopt to these changes much more seamlessly. So forecast is one mechanism. Plus, I don't think any of us are happy when we walk into a store looking for something and when it's out of stock. That is not a good experience. So what can we do to help retailers in this space? And what are some lessons we can take from Amazon in this? So if you look at what Amazon was doing, we were doing forecasting in the early stage using statistical models. Our product selection was very small. Patterns were not very much the statistical model works. But as we progressed, product selection increased, and also the demands changed by region and product, right? I mean, there's just so many nuances and variances that got added into the forecasting models. The statistical model didn't work. We had to shift into machine learning. But then as we saw later on, we had additional complexities added in terms of, okay, how do you do a new product? Like, how do you forecast for something you've just not sold before? What do you do? How do you factor in external events? How do you actually provide data sets and have machine learn from different related data sets and look at patterns and changes and use that to predict your forecast, right? So learning from different data sets. So how do you do all that? Which is when we embrace a deep learning plus models. This particular service actually has been incorporated into Amazon as a service called Amazon Forecast. So what you do with this is you can actually bring your data sets. You don't need any prior ML experience needed. Bring your own data set, and we have train your models. We have a combination of statistical and machine learning models. You can actually also have machine do auto ML and pick the right model. We also have all these hyperparameters built in. So you can just bring your data sets, your core data sets, your item, your quantity. You can also bring additional related data sets like pricing, promotion, weather is actually included in the service as well, weather and holidays. So you don't have to bring that. But you can bring other data sets like pricing and promotions or other events or changes, local events, from third-party systems that could influence changes or could have influenced changes in the past and how those things influence your future, right? So you can bring all these different data sets into this particular service to help you easily forecast what that is. And again, forecasting, I don't see this more like as an operational problem. It's again customer engagement, as I said before. No retailer wants to have a customer walk into the store and leave without buying because the product doesn't exist. So those are some things from a customer experience standpoint. You walk in, you know where they are, they're going to have it in stock, and you can easily take the product and walk out, right? So that is how we bring that end-to-end experience, a customer experience, with our combination of different services we have in place. And yeah, so what's next, and what you can do, again, as I said, look at your ideas in terms of where you want to do, in what you want to do from a short-term perspective, long-term perspective, and then start using the working backwards methodology in trying to identify those use cases you want to target, and then experimenting with the services and platform and tools that you have access to, and and working with us. We are there to help you. So feel free to reach out. You should have an AWS account manager. We can help you find one, and we can help you. As I said, we've helped a lot of customers in sort of like changing the mindset. Everybody knows, well, we need to do this, but again, how do you actually fundamentally change the mindset of your leaders, your employees, in helping you get to where you want to? So we have like a lot of culture innovation workshops we can work with in helping you think through those org changes and organizational changes in terms of how to change that mindset into a more innovative startup-like thinking. We can help you. And then again, invent and simplify is one of our leadership principles. Amazon has about 16 leadership principles now. Customer obsession, on trust, as we saw them earlier, and invent and simplify is one. That is why I think if you look at our solutions and services, it's actually in a way wherein it's easy. That is why we see retailers embracing cloud is the mindset of if I want to try something, I don't have to invest significant resources on-prem. I know I don't have to repeat this. Everybody has the idea of why cloud sort of baked in, but then I think as you start thinking through this, it just sort of makes it very clear as to why you want to be working with a cloud provider, why you want to have your workloads on the cloud. And I would also want to call out that if you look at our AWS services, we have our services in the cloud, but we're also aware that there are certain use cases wherein we need to provide you with services at the edge in a point of sale system. For instance, if you want to do computer vision like experiences and technologies and solutions, we want to make sure you have the flexibility of doing in AWS and also at the edge. So we have a combination of services to help you actually invent, simplify, and innovate, as you look at use cases that drives your business growth. So anyway, so that's all I had. So any questions that I don't know if I can see the questions, but any questions you have, I think we probably should take some time to walk through it.
Thank you so much. That is so much exciting information to all take in. Let me just see if anyone has any questions as we finish up this program. I know there are a number of people obviously have existing relationship with Amazon, but hopefully this will stimulate some thinking, and hearing directly from Kritika will hopefully motivate everyone to engage with them, because these, again, they're just as these immersion days, as she pointed out, they're just great opportunities to really get an insider's view of what's going on within Amazon and AWS, and seeing how that can be applicable in your environment.